order, please. Under other, I'm going to take the opportunity to say to Mr. Green that we appreciate the service that you have given Montgomery County. Thank you for the work you've done for the towns, the villages, the city, the county, etc. Job well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make speech.
I'm saving it for later.
Okay. Under discussion, anybody else have anything they would like to bring up? Hearing none, we have a resolution before us. It's a resolution scheduling public hearing review of agricultural district number 1. It's sponsored by Gremeza. Do we have a second? Supervisor Stark, I saw your hand first. Discussion. We do have all of the mapping done for that, Doug. Everything's all
It's getting real close.
getting real
I'm
close.
going to be presenting it to the Ag and Farmland Protection Board Thursday night. They'll make their recommendation, approve it, and then it'll all go as that. The maps and everything, all the list of property owners, and the report will be delivered to supervisors for next month's public hearing.
Okay. Further discussion? Wishes of the committee? Move it? Opposed? Let's see, make sure we got enough.
Just squeak that
Yeah, we got 4. I heard no opposition. It is moved to the full board. Motion to adjourn. Larry, seconded. By me.
in. You can.
Okay, we'll call Public Safety Committee to order. First thing on the agenda is discussion, privilege of chair, committee members. Anyone have anything? Now we'll move on to resolution. First resolution authorizing the hiring of senior account clerk typist in probation department prior to the retirement of the incumbent that is in this position. My sponsor has the second part. Any discussion? Wish of the committee?
Move it.
Move it. Alrighty, and under other, Doug would like to speak a little bit about the hazard mitigation.
Yes. Thanks. I promise I won't take too much time, because I know how you don't particularly like long presentations, so. I should look at the agenda.
It says, have a
Here's a few extra. Go somewhere here. Okay, thanks. Sweet. Just want to give a quick rundown of that there is a hazard mitigation plan being updated. You might recall there was a big effort. The plan was completed last time back in 2009. And we've rehired the same consultant who did the previous plan, so we're very familiar with the county and all the issues. We've already selected a consultant. There's a steering committee that's been meeting and working with the consultant. Letters of intent have gone out, and I'd like to just make one final request that there's still a few places that haven't submitted their letters of intent, and especially we're just looking for points of contact, so we know who to be working with to actually develop a plan. And so I've tried 3 different occasions to get those pieces of information, and almost there yet. So if you haven't submitted it yet, please get them back to myself, or now it's going to be Ken, going to be taking over some things at this point right now. We're going to be setting up a website just so we have a place for the public. You know, these kind of things, you have to have a public outreach. We're going to have a website presence. There's going to be a survey. The same information that you have in front of you right now will also be posted on there, and we'll be able to track the progress of the plan. The process has also started moving forward, that the consultants are contacting each municipality who's involved to get what's called the municipal annexes, and which that means is basically projects that you'd want to see in your municipality. And I can't emphasize, that's also a really important thing, that you work with the consultants to list any and all infrastructure things that could be made part of this plan. And the point is that when this plan is completed, that the projects that are included in this plan will then be eligible for hazard mitigation grants. And if you don't list the projects, you're going to have a real hard time getting funding for culvert work or a lot of things that you know are problems out there. And especially if you don't get involved and you don't commit to work on this hazard mitigation plan, you're not even going to be in it. So you'll have no opportunity to apply for anything. So 2 things that are really important. And then, so again, the consultants are going to be contacting folks, working to get your projects on a list. And then they'll fold it into the plan. And then for a little bit further on down, there's going to be stakeholder meetings where all the municipalities will be brought in together, and kind of more information given, kind of round out all the other parts of the plan. The timeline is to get this thing finished up, a draft sent to FEMA by March or April of next year, and then get it on through, get it completed and finished up by November, I believe, is the cutoff time next year. So the 2 major points: get those letters of intent and points of contacts in if you haven't done so, and then work with the consultant when they contact you to get your projects on a list so you'll be eligible for future grant applications. So thanks again. And I want to say thank you for being able to work here in Montgomery County for the last 7 years. It's given me a lot of good opportunities to work on a lot of really interesting projects. And I appreciate that. I appreciate working with Karen. Thanks. Best of luck to all of you. Thank you.
All right. Anything else on the other? Not even motion to adjourn. Mark? Second, Larry?
All right, we'll call our Health and Human Services Committee meeting to order. Items on the agenda at this time are as follows: discussion, privilege of the committee chair, committee members, board of supervisors to discuss items of interest. Anyone? If not, we'll move on. We have one add-on. All right.
Yes.
First resolution is to amend the 2013 budget. I was the sponsor, Jeff Stark was the second. We do need an amendment on that. Mike informed me that he wants to change the 350,000 to 500.
Yes.
Correct? Increase the revenues and increase the appropriations under those respective line items. I'll make the motion for the amendment. Is there a second? Jeff? A discussion on the amendment?
$500,000. Right, Mike? All right, hearing no discussion, everybody in favor of the amendment? Moving on. And on the resolution itself, moving on to the full board.
Move it.
Good?
Mhm.
All right. The next resolution we have is a resolution to amend 2013 budget and change the title of vacant position, Department of Social Services. Did I sponsor Barbara?
Yep, you sponsor.
And Barbara seconded.
Yep.
Well, it doesn't on that one, but the new ones that were just printed, it does, but I don't have the new ones, so.
I just have it in the system.
Okay. So Barbara seconded that discussion.
This is apples to apples, same pay grade, same everything.
Anything, Mike, you want to?
That's correct. We just think to make it uniform on our front end here, the intake is to have them both, that's essential. It prevents us from getting into out of work out of title, like both scenario.
All right, any other questions? Not, move it on to the full board. I'm sorry, Sean.
There's a typo on this. I believe line 726 is not correct. 460, 18.
No, it is 7.6. That is correct. 468 is taken eliminated, and I made that change on the budget.
This is eliminating 726.
That's correct. It is correct.
Okay.
We good? If there happens to be an error in that, after we discuss this, just bring it up before the full board meeting. All right? Everybody good with moving the resolution itself?
Yep.
All right. Resolution to amend the 2013 budget and change title of vacant position, Department of Social Services. Same sponsor, same, Barbara seconded. Anybody?
Yeah, this one is changing from a grade E to F, but it's 62 federal, 17 state, and 21 local. So if you break down the 21% local, it's a total cost of $382. And the amount of work that this will save the department, and it's just a win-win in so many different ways for the department. And I was delighted to hear all of the ways that this will impact. And just for $382.
Mike, would you like to?
Yeah, what we're doing here is currently our caseloads and child support are increasing as everything else is. And this allows, currently the senior clerk typist cannot go to court and do any processing there. This allows us to do that, and that's really what's slowing us down, is not allowing them to go. By being a support investigator, they can take the process. The simple change, but it's going to greatly hopefully reduce our cases.
Okay. So move it, everyone? On the committee, anybody against moving it to the full board? All right. Last item we have is the add-on resolution. It's a resolution authorizing chairman to sign agreement and amend 2013 operating budget transportation initiative program, Department of Social Services. I sponsored it. Barbara, you seconded this also? Discussion? Everybody good with it? All right. We'll move that forward to the full board. I have nothing else. Look for, I don't think I have anything else. No? Or is that, okay. Look for a motion to adjourn. Barbara, Jeff, all those in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to call the General Services Committee to order, please. First item tonight is discussion items. Do we have any from the members? Hearing none. The next item is a tabled resolution 178 of 2013, approving options for purchase of lands for right-of-way for the FJ&G Rail to Trails project. This was tabled from the last full board meeting. I'll just start with a question to the Commissioner, Paul Claver. Are we able to get out of these options for the purchase of this land, or, you know?
I suppose if it was just the option, until the closing happened, I suppose we should, yeah.
Because it's not really a purchase agreement, is it?
But it will turn into a purchase agreement. That would be the next step, and then the purchase would take place. And then the property would be transferred.
Any other comment?
I guess just as a point of order, if this is tabled resolution, and there's no motion or second, then it's still on the table. Unless somebody moves to take it off from the committee, it's a moot point now.
It was tabled. Moved to the general services.
It was tabled by the full board
Okay.
with the direction
But you still don't have a
back.
sponsor in a second?
Well, you do. You have the original sponsor in second.
Okay.
Both is sponsorship, really.
Not in this one.
Not in this.
No.
Thought you did that.
That was about the bypass.
The
The
bypass.
bypass. John?
Chair, just to refresh you guys' memory that may not recall what the reason why it was tabled was that there was a issue about a right-of-way on the FJ&G for Fulton County. If we purchased this property, there's nothing in the contract that opens that right-of-way back up for Fulton County to put a rail spur up through the FJ&G or to bring sanitary sewer down the FJ&G for the city of Johnstown to the Mohawk River. I reached out to Fulton County a couple of times and told them about tonight's meeting. If they had any kind of objection or were interested in this, that this is the time to do it. I don't believe anybody has shown up. Has there been somebody, Ken?
Kim has had
Oh, okay.
conversation with her.
So that's what I'm looking for is, you know, we tabled this out of a courtesy to Fulton County. So what is their interest? Do they have a desire to try to maintain some sort of a right-of-way? Because they currently own that property. The city of Johnstown, I believe, is the current owner of that trail. So what's their desire? Do they want to have some kind of an option in the contract that allows them to bring that rail spur back up through there? That's the question I want answered. I just wanted to, out of courtesy, allow them to have this opportunity. Did they?
I don't know. Ken?
Yeah, the planning director called me today, Jim Raskin called me today, he had spoken to several supervisors yesterday and today, and they requested that this resolution be tabled until we can research doing it in relation to the possibility of it becoming a rail spur down the road. If there's that possibility, that someone should be able to contract as that option, remain open in regards to if it's covered.
That's all I need to know. Thank you,
So
sir.
do the members want to just take no action on this resolution at this time?
I would recommend keeping it in committee until they have action.
Just keep it in this?
Yeah. Or it's going to go through, right?
Well, you could, and we can, well, you can also table it in this committee if you
That's
want
what
to.
I'm
It's
saying.
been tabled by the full board, so it'll appear on your agenda next week,
Right.
regardless of what you do. If you want to table it in the committee, or to come back at next month's committee meeting, that's all right too.
Now, it would go under unfinished business for the board meeting.
Right, and if you table it here, it would come up back under unfinished business for next month's committee meeting.
Well, I would think you'd want to do that. I would make that recommendation.
John?
Chair, Ken, did Fulton County give you any kind of idea on what they are going to need for time to do this?
We're thinking we're having a joint meeting shortly. We're thinking that we should be able to find out within 2 weeks. First, with CSX, to be able to let us tie anything on the main line, this is the business section of that main line. And then we should know that. That's even possible.
Thanks,
Table
Chair.
this to October.
So if we,
Table it to October.
well, like when I was talking to Doug, we don't even have to table it, we can just do nothing, and then at some point just bring it back.
Whatever Mike does at that,
Is that okay with the members?
The October committee meeting is only 3 weeks from tonight, remember, because you're on a tight schedule this month, or a late schedule.
All right, so we'll have no action on this for tonight. Next, next item is resolution amending 2013 operating budget sanitary district. I'll sponsor that. Do we have a second?
Brian sponsored it.
Brian, good? Discussion? Move it. All in favor of moving it to full board? No objections? Anything under other? Motion. Motion to adjourn? Brian, second? I'll second.
Okay, we'll bring the Personnel Committee to order. 2 items on the agenda. Under discussion item, anyone have any items of interest they'd like to discuss? Hearing none, we'll move on to the first resolution authorizing chairman to sign renewal agreement for Chronos time clock maintenance. I sponsored it. Needs a second. Tom? Discussion? Wishes of committee, move. Any objections? So moved. Second item, reestablishing a part-time safety officer. This has come back up again, and I guess what we're trying to do is find out the wishes of the committee. Rich, did you have anything you wanted to say, or you just want to?
Need a second.
Oh, I sponsored it. Needs a second. Not there.
Mr. Chairman, last month, a few months ago, I passed out information regarding, it was a packet of that thick, everybody got a copy of all the information. Just to refresh your memory a little bit. We have 6 violations for violence in the workplace, everything has to be done by September 30th. There were 6 items, 5 items are done already, the last item was to be the training of all the employees to be done. September 23rd to the 25th. So all employees, so everything, all 6 items will be taken care of by the end of September. But, in that regard, we did have a safety officer. We always had a safety officer part-time until they hired 2 full-timers. One came and left, and Richard came and left. And what's not being done by the safety officer is still, we have a workplace violence advisory team. We haven't met in 2.5 years. This is all for the next years. Risk management team, which he led, hasn't met. He did employee orientation for all safety for all employees every month, for new employees. Not being done. Led the safety committee every month for monthly meetings. I would be in 2.5 years. He had a hazardous assessment checklist. That's what I handed out. On the checklist, I don't know if it was every item, but every page has at least three items on it with a list of all the items that have to be checked off. We're talking, he did this every month. He went through all of it. He went through all these pages, and he went through all the departments, all the county, sewer district, DPW, all of them. And the question, I know the recorder said I should do it right on the safety officer, but again, I'm not trained in OSHA. I still do 10 towns, 10 villages, three school districts, the college, MOSA, and county employees. So I don't have 20 hours or 40 hours to put towards being a safety officer. Also, I do workers' comp, that's another 4,500 teaching. So I don't have the time or the ability to be a safety officer. So the question is, if you want a safety officer, fine. If you don't want one, that's your decision. Just tell me what, it's not being done right now. I'm not trained to do it.
Do you think, I think for the training, the risk management, the lawsuits alone, this could prevent us, do you think this could be done in a part-time capacity? I know it has been done before, but,
We've had part-time for years until we hired a full-timer.
right,
So Richard left in 2010, he was there for 2 years.
right.
Then Dave was here for, I think, a year. So for 3 years, we had a full-time person. But before that, we always had a part-time person.
So going forward, how much would that, is there a base pay, a rough estimate? No.
Can I go back to that chair?
Yeah, are you through, Bart?
Yeah,
Sure.
Probably, going back, when I first came on here in '92, we had an officer, or not an officer, a fireman out of the city of Amsterdam, had done it for several years. I think we paid him a stipend around $5,500 or $5,000.
Before that, we had Buchanan for 20 years. We had a person before that.
Exactly. But I'm saying, you can hire one of the firemen to train in a part-time position, put it out at $10,000.
But again, even if you're a fireman, you want to have a person who meets the job. I have the job specs, which you have in the resolution. And again, you have to read the qualifications.
Yeah.
And take an exam. It's a competitive position. Even if it's part-time, you still got to take an exam.
Even at a part-time position, you have to take it.
I think what Rich is looking for is somebody to have a presence at the county
Yeah.
during daytime operation hours, whether it be for a part-time or that time.
I'm not saying I'm totally against it. I'm just saying that right now it's almost October. I don't know that I want to strap a position for a new legislator body to come in when it could be something that the new body could come in and really take a closer look at and have a real conversation with in January or February. I know some might say, well, they have enough to worry about, but, you know, that's, for us to put that in our budget right now, even if it's only 5,000 or 10,000, I don't know that we've cleared up the problems we had with PASH. They're resolved. So if we had some real big outstanding issues there and they were saying do it, do it, do it, but I mean, there's 3 months left in the year. I think we should let the new body come in, take a real good look at it.
And again, the fact is aware of that.
Right.
I told them that the new government, January 1st.
Right. I'm not saying it should go talked about, or, you know, I'm not saying just to blow it off. I just think that we should, I'm not going to make a motion to table it, but it should just be put off until that, the body coming in here can act on it.
I think that's the reason they wanted it before the committee, to make sure everybody was on the same page, whether it moves forward or it stalls. Everybody knows where it's at. Further discussion?
Yeah, one thing.
Tom?
No, I just want to say that I don't know where the report was coming from either, saying that Rich Baya would have he should be the safety officer. Must be somebody put it in their ear that thought Rich should be the safety officer, and they wrote an article, which I thought was totally ridiculous, because if they look at his position and what he does, they would find out that he doesn't have the time to do that. And if you look at the duties and responsibilities of the safety officer, certainly these don't fall under the purview of Rich Baya's job specifications as personnel director. To increase health and safety awareness at all levels within the organization, to investigate and report all serious critical personal injuries, accidents occurring to everyone regardless, to respond to employee safety health concerns, to assist board in occupational health and safety committees and standards. I mean, Rich, again, he's not certified in any of this, and how can he be a safety officer? He doesn't have any code background. He doesn't have you know, I mean, it covers a wide area. The last safety officer had a lot of responsibility, and I thought did a good job. Sometimes he even went too overboard, but he did a good job. So I think, you know, it's unfortunate that some people wanted him to go, but again, I was one of the ones that probably did a good job. So that being said, you know, I think we need a safety officer. The sooner we can get one here on board, I think the better off we'll be. So, thank you.
Now we've got Barb and then Mike.
Okay, I was just gonna say, going from what Tom said, and I think Supervisor Demessa made some good points, but looking at what the Personnel Director does, I don't see how the expertise in OSHA, while the threat's not from a lawsuit right now, that doesn't mean in 3 weeks or 4 weeks, there's not gonna be a violation, or there couldn't be something that comes up. I don't wanna be penny wise and pound foolish. I think that safety's not a risk I really wanna take, and with it being something so small, we're in charge right now. So to give the next legislator off on the best foot possible, again, a part-time safety officer is something I absolutely would support. It's something too important on the county level. So for all of those reasons, I would support it.
Is that Barb?
Yes, thank you.
Mike?
Yeah, Rich, can I ask you a question? Sure. Considering the resolution here has got a blank here, annual salary, do you have to conform to union contracts when you set that?
No.
So you can set that at anything you want? Was there parameters before on what a good dollar amount was?
Well, again, when they were part-time, it was like $5,000 to $7,000.
Do you feel,
But again, that was a long time ago.
I would say realistically?
See, in the meantime, Gary Nesso, who was here full-time as the emergency maintenance director, he was doing boat job with no pay. He tried to. He tried to do safety, emergency management, so for like, he was there like 7, 8 years, and maybe 10 years, I forgot. So the salary going back to a part-time was so long ago, they're making $3,000 to $5,000, that was back in the 90s.
If this is approved, this is advertised for,
Yeah.
and they have to conform, I see what you have here, what they have to do, so.
Right. Yeah, they gotta take it.
Considering that it's
Advertise,
September, can you survive 3 months without this, or we gonna have a problem?
Well, again,
Personally, would
Matt is aware of it.
they're aware of it, but what's the bottom line?
I guess we only get a spectrum, we had no accidents with nobody gets hurt.
Right.
That's, I mean, that's, doesn't seem to be the smart thing to do at all, taking a chance. If you had a recommendation, maybe you don't want to make one, what dollar amount would you put in here?
I don't think like 10 to 12,000.
And what is considered part-time up here in the county now?
Well, this would be a salary position.
Okay.
Normally it's half of the full-timer, like 20 hours. But under Obamacare, the person works over 30, going to do that because they have any insurance. So less than 30. So I would say less than 30 with no benefits. But again, it's like a town, like a code enforcement officer in a town. Their salary, they work any hours they want them to work. They can work an hour a week or 20 hours a week or 50 hours a week. So it's the same.
I mean, bringing it before us now, in reality, we're on the camera, you're putting us all on notice, which, you have to think about.
No, this one.
No, I'm not criticizing you, I'm just saying that for the position, you're doing that,
All right, right.
if you understand what I'm saying. Right. So the position is, if something unfortunately should happen next month, what's the recourse? So I have no problem with this person, and I'm on the committee, and I have no problem.
Rick, did you say it was competitive or non-competitive?
Competitive.
So you have to give a test, or do you have a list?
No, the list is expired, you have to give a test.
So that's gonna take a little
The
while.
provisional appointment, well, depends how you want to do it. If we do it advertised, hire provisionally is probably sometime in October. Then give the exam. I can order the exam right away, but the exam I'll put it about next year. It's once every 2 years for the exam.
Okay. I got Tom and then John Terry,
All right.
before he breaks up over there.
When you kind of hit on it, but what's it, every time, at least since I can remember, we've always, the Board of Supervisors interviewed this person.
Correct.
So
Still would be that way.
still would be that way. I mean, what are you talking? Mid-October? Before somebody would be, on November 1st,
Could be, yeah.
before somebody would be in place?
Right.
Again, last time we had a safety officer, half the people in this room, not half, I shouldn't say half the people in this room, half of the supervisors at the time complained and didn't like it, something that was going on, and the other half, yeah, I mean, I don't, and the question I guess I have for Doug, and Michael can talk about being put on notice by Rich and being on camera, but the bottom line, if we're gonna get sued by somebody, for whatever reason, safety officer
So we do best.
is not going to prevent that from happening. Somebody's gonna sue you. Am I right? Or, I mean, if somebody wants to sue, they're gonna sue. I'm not asking you to make a judgment call here, but safety officer alone does not prevent lawsuits from happening if we're worried about a lawsuit. Now, if you're worried about somebody's safety, and you really feel that this position is going to help us to that point and really keep somebody safe, that's a different argument. But to argue about, and again, my concern is, by the time we get somebody in place, by the time that person gets acclimated, it'll be at the first of the year anyway. You haven't done anything here in regards to prevention. You may have gotten somebody that the new legislature may not even want. Who knows? Again, I say let them make the decision.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I think we've lost a little focus here, exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for a safety officer. And, you know, safety is a mindset. And we don't have anybody out there consistently beating that drum. We can push it off until the legislature comes in and we can put a new safety officer in the 1st of March. In the meantime, you may have a couple of employees that are hurt and we lose time because of that. You know, as I say, it's a mindset. We've got nobody out there going around looking to see if there may be a hazard. You know, I work in my garage day in and day out. But I know what's there, and I take that chance. It's a little bit different here at the county. We have employees, we're responsible to a certain extent to provide a safe and violent-free environment. And we're just not addressing it. There's nothing happening. I don't see where it's going to hurt anything for us to put somebody on in mid-October, 1st of November, whatever the case may be. They can get out there, they can get acclimated. You know, if the executive, the 1st of the year, decides he doesn't want to have a safety officer, it's on him to fire that person. But I think we're kind of dropping the ball if we're not trying to address a situation that we're aware of.
I agree.
So,
Many of these things, John, require the training to be updated on a bi-yearly or sometime annual basis. And also, all the records have to be looked at on a yearly basis, or he gets cited again, he gets cited. So there's much more to it than just looking for safety issues.
we waste $10,000 by turning the lights on.
Air conditioning, one day.
You set, John?
I'm set, thank you, Chair.
I think I got Barb.
Yeah.
And then Brian.
I agree with the chairman. I think it's a mindset. I think it's just getting a head start in the mindset of safety first. So whether we're getting 1 month, 2 month head start to the new form of government, we're giving the best start possible and having the mindset being safety first. So, thank you.
Thank you. Brian?
Thank you. Speaking from being the chairman of the sanitary district, I know that we had some violations there, and I know there would have probably been numerous more had we not had a safety officer in the past. As far as the cranes that were expected that probably wouldn't have been, so there were numerous things that we would have had more violations if we hadn't had that. So I agree. I think this is something that we shouldn't leave for the next group to do. And like John said, if they decide to get rid of them, well, then that's their decision. But I don't think we should wait, get in process and get it rolling. Thank you, Chair.
And then Jeff.
Okay. I'll throw this out because it was thrown at me. After that letter came out, the letter to the editor and all that, or the editorial, a person from the school district in St. John's said to me, and I know this from working at the school districts, that BOCES has a safety officer, and in fact may have several, and that school districts contract out with BOCES for a safety officer. So the question is, do you have to put one on, or can you get one through BOCES who's already qualified, certified, and the rest? When you look at risk management, the biggest risk we have in Montgomery County isn't somebody tripping on a sidewalk. It happens to be, obviously the biggest exposure we have is the sheriff's department. And that's where the majority of the lawsuits occur. Safety officer has no function in the sheriff's department, per se, and any of the rules, regulations, procedures that occur in the sheriff's office. And usually the lawsuits that we have nothing to do with typically safety of a building or somebody tripping. It's because we're moving someone and there's a lock on the back door that no one attached. The safety officer would have never found that. Most of the things that they found at the sewer district, like the guards, they've been on since the day the building was built, and no one ever picked that one up. So I'm not sure exactly, do we need to hire somebody? Because who's he under? Who monitors him? Who determines the hours that he works, where he works? You know what I mean? Is it solely for public works and trenches that are out there? Or is it the secretary who's working the desk that may fall off the chair? I'm not exactly sure what you're describing as a safety officer. So, but the thing is, if it's yeah, like Robin. You know what I mean? So, you know, he pointed over.
The chair ran out from under.
He pointed over there, I didn't. But the thing was, when you're looking at risk management, the biggest risk we have, the biggest exposure we have, number one is the sheriff's department. And it's not that any safety officer would have control over safety there. So I'm not exactly sure what we're dealing with that we can't get from possibly BOCES under a contract. And we already have somebody certified. So I throw that out. It was thrown out to me. I've seen them. I've worked with them in school environments. So I know that they're there. Yeah. Thank you, Chair.
You got Jeff and then Tom.
You know, this isn't like we weren't aware of this. I think this was a topic of discussion about 6 months or so ago when the union representative addressed the board about a safety officer. Is that true? So my question is now, it just puzzles me every month because we go back and forth. It seems as news of our fund balance increased, we've gotten looser and looser spending money. And several supervisors made the comment of that in the past. My question is, do we have someone in mind for this job? No, there's no one in mind. In the budget process, you know, we have to start muddling through that to make sure that we can actually meet our obligations next year. At the same time, we need to have, it's not like I'm opposed to it, but you know, let's have some planning. This started 6 months ago, and all of a sudden it's dropped like we got to have a safety officer now. I don't understand the need for rushing to it right now. I think we should come back with some ideas, explain, maybe look at shared services, contracting with BOCES, and getting it for the most reasonable cost. or looking at maybe an employee that we already have that has these qualifications, that already works for the county, maybe we can include it in as a stipend. Is that possible, Rick? Is there anybody
I'm
that
not sure,
has it?
I'm not sure anybody's qualified in the county. I'm not sure. The last time we had an exam, no county employee applied for it. Maybe the qualifications, will make limited qualifications. I'm not sure. But I know two things. Supervisor Tagliano is right. I mean, you can always contract out with another agency, another entity, that's fine. But I know we went, Supervisor Streety and myself, when we went to the jail to meet regarding violence in the workplace, and we met with the 4 union reps in the other jail. The other sheriff there stated that the former safety officer drove them nuts up there.
I think that's what Dominic was referring to.
So, well, I'm not sure what he did up there, but he said he drove.
He shook it up.
He drove them nuts up in the sheriff's department. So, he was something.
I've got the Tom Clark motion and contract.
Well-
Oh, Jeff, are you done?
Yes.
Tom?
Well, and I know we've had safety committees before, and I'm not trying to push away how important safety is. Very, very, very important. But I think about it, and the more the discussion that I hear, and I read the distinguishing features of the class of a safety officer, and I think about if we had a safety committee, a true safety committee, could they work and be involved in the responsibility for planning and implementing a comprehensive safety program, including developing standards for the protection of employees and the public use of blah, 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 blah. Read through that. That's something that a committee that was set up to do, so you're not throwing it all on one person's back to do. Now, that committee goes to the departments, in my estimation, would go to somebody like, I don't want to pick on Paul, but that's where safety comes in, and then take those ideas and bring them to each of the department heads for them to try to implement. Like, some of the things at the sanitary sewer district that were not there were these posters, right? I mean, a lot of it was pretty easy stuff, that if their department head was aware of it up there, could have.
Well, they had posters, we all had posters.
Right.
That poster was not there.
Just using it as examples, is what I'm saying. There's a lot of things that can be brought down through, and possibly with the help of an employee that's here or an outside agency like Mosey Spray. You know, start with the safety committee to bring back some recommendations and ideas. And maybe their idea is going to be that we need a part-time safety officer. But to think that a person being hired October 1st is going to prevent something, or we're putting somebody in jeopardy, safety's ownership is on yourself too. I mean, every time you get out of a truck, or Paul, I'm sure that you have things, and maybe Paul can awaken us a little bit here. What do you do for safety? Can I ask Paul a question? Paul, what do you do in regards to safety now? It sounds here like we do absolutely nothing. Does that, I mean, you must do something, don't you?
Well, I'd like to think everybody conducts themselves in a safe manner every day. I mean, we've got the posters, we do periodic tailgate talks, where they'll pick a different topic every month or every couple of months, things like that. There are periodic trainings. There were a lot of programs that Richard had set in place that haven't been followed through with since Richard was left.
I was just in a meeting in the town of Charleston with Sully, and we had a person from PESH that came in to meet with our unit there. And they're willing to come in and actually train, talk to you, and help you implement. Am I right, Sully? I mean, they're willing to do this for free.
No, they've come in the past.
So my question is, why aren't we taking advantage of those things instead of just saying, let's go spend 2 hours to do it, if it's there and it's available? Doesn't mean that we're putting safety off on the back burner. It just means another route of getting to where we want to go and utilizing things that the state already provides for us. I don't know why we wouldn't do that.
Mr. Thayer?
I know I'm putting you on the spot, Rich, but could you give us a rough idea for calendar year 2012, how many days we had personnel out due to injury. For the county, well, that's last year.
I don't know. I mean, it depends. I mean, a workers' comp case, a workers' comp, that doesn't mean it was a safety issue.
I understand.
It could be any kind of issue for workers' comp, as long as you hurt workers' comp.
Stop pointing at me.
That's one word, but that's one issue. They have a workers' comp where a person gets hit by an inmate. I mean, there's all kind of workers' comp, but that inmate gets punched in the correction officer, won't be stopped by a safety officer. You know, so I really don't have a figure. I have to go back and get the figure for you for workers' comp. Yeah.
Thank you. That's all I have, Chair.
I'm about ready to go through the committee and ask if you're in favor of the position or not. And if you're overwhelmingly in favor, then we can talk about the salary, or if not in favor, the whole thing is dead. But otherwise, we're not going to get anywhere here tonight. Do you agree on that? So for those wishing to, I'll take a head count. So this would be, I'm going to say yes or no on establishing a safety officer, part-time position. Bob Sullivan?
No.
No. Brian Sweet?
Yes.
Michael Chiara?
Yes.
Mr. Grieco's not here, that's a no. Tom Quackenbush?
No.
Dominic?
No, I'm not ready for that yet.
And I would be a yes, so that's only 3 yeses and a whole bunch of no's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 no's. Sullivan? Vito? Markey and Dominic? So the conversation ends, right?
Right, what if we bring it up at the full board when we can all vote for it?
Well, we didn't move it to the
Yeah,
board.
move it to the board.
It's in the committee and it's dead. So I need a motion to adjourn. Tom Quackenbush, do I have a second? Second. You could have saved yourself half an hour.
I know.